And it's a warm summer day here in Orange County, California. We're out on our studio/patio in my backyard, and we have with us Alex Udavines. Udavines, and I'll never get that name right. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, Alex.
I'm
and Alex
used
is the part of the UCI Agnostic, Atheists, and Rationalists Club. Is that correct?
Atheists, Agnostics, and Rationalists.
And that's
AAR.
UCI. That's University of California, Irvine, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're not against religion, are you?
It'd be nice if religion one day just didn't matter in the world. I think that's a belief that a lot of us hold, but we're not militantly demanding that everyone give up their religion now. We just want to make sure that people can live together harmoniously and peacefully. That's our goal, more than everything else. Generally, a lot of atheists believe the less religion has to do with the world, the closer that goal will be, but it's the goal that's important, not how we get there. And so, we're not demanding, a death to religion or anything like that. We just want to kind of have a peaceful life, and we want to be treated as, Americans and, fellow members of the community, rather than being defined as, oh, you're an atheist.
What does that mean? No
good.
morals, no soul.
Yeah.
Why do some people think that atheists have no morals?
I think it's because in the U.S., there's a very heavy Christian slant to our
Absolutely
culture and
there is,
communities. And a lot of churches, because I grew up, went to church when I was younger and a kid, and a lot of the belief is you get your morals from the Bible, you get your morals from God. It's you do this because God said to do this, not because you are a good person, but because you are a good person through believing in Jesus, believing in God. And so if someone doesn't believe in God, how can they be a good person? If all your morals come from God, how can you be a good person? And, it's that belief, and it's the, kind of from there, so if you believe that all morals come from God, you just simply kind of build up from there logically that, well, if you don't believe in God, how can you have morals? And, since that's such a strong component of our culture, it tends to bend people's thinking. And so, anything that comes outside of that structure just immediately is, well, no, you can't.
Right. Well, even people from other religions believe in a God, and so even though a Buddhist or a Hindu or even a Muslim might come up to them, they also know that actually Buddhists don't believe in a God, but other religions, that they believe in a God, so they must have morals, even though their gods are totally
wrong and they're going to hell.
Even they're going to hell,
Yeah.
yes. They must have morals because they believe in a God. And what I've discovered, I've been an atheist most of my life, but I've been a self-educated atheist just the last 3 years. And so to me, what that really tells me is that atheists think about life a little bit more. They're kind of like pseudo-philosophers. Some are philosophers. And they think about their life, their meaning, their purpose, if there is a purpose in life. They go through a self-actualization process where they explore their own inner being, not soul.
Yeah.
Just their own inner being. What are they made of? What am I here for?
Who am I?
And most atheists come to the same conclusion, that we're here to support our fellow human being. We're here to live this life the best we can, to be good and moral as we can, and to live this life as if to also contribute something to this life, to leave this life better than when we came in it.
Exactly. We only have this life. That's a big component of becoming an atheist, and from what I've talked with people about, one of the last stages in kind of identifying with an atheist is when I'm dead, that's it.
But people come up to me and go, that's sad, you don't believe in anything, you don't believe in a heaven. I've never met a person that doesn't believe in a heaven. You just die and that's it. That's so sad. How do you respond to that?
People have been dying for a long time. It's, to a certain extent, especially when you consider the ideas of heaven and hell. And so, because, I grew up in America, that's my predominant thing, that's the predominant cultural idea. You think of hell and you think, wow, that's torment, torture, horror for eternity. some amount of time I cannot even begin to
And
comprehend.
even if you're on Earth for 80 years, that's a finite amount of life, and then you get infinite amount of punishment and reward. To me, that's kind of a big red flag.
And
right
that's
off the
kind
bat.
of another separate topic. But then I think about, you know what? You're dead. You're done. There's nothing. It's not even that I am dead. There's no me to be dead at a certain point. It's just I cease to exist entirely.
But it's sad. You're just explaining your philosophy of your belief of when you die, but specifically when somebody comes up and says you're sad, I'm not going to be sad when I die.
Yeah.
But
There's
I'm
no
talking about
me
this
to
present
be
moment.
sad
Aren't
or-
you sad because you're not going somewhere?
No, because I will have lived a good life. I will have done my best to ensure that life is better for everyone around me. Life is better for my kids. Life is better for my grandkids. Life is better for my neighbors. So that, I know dying, that even though that's it, I'm done, my life up until that point was good. And after that, once I'm dead, it doesn't matter because there's no me.
Well, here's another way I think about it. When somebody says they're sad because I don't believe in a heaven, I respond with, you mean your idea of a particular heaven that you can't prove exists? What if all the other religions had a better heaven than yours?
Yeah.
What instead of you, if you just went up and sat next to Jesus, that you'd have something better? I can't even explain it, but what if the religion came along that said, oh, you get heaven and you can actually come down to earth again and live your life fully and then go back up to heaven, something better than heaven?
Yeah.
Then your heaven would be sad. You would
Exactly.
be living something that is worse off than what you're thinking is the best possible infinite reward that anybody could get.
Yeah.
And to think about it, the religionists had to build this into their religion. You don't get 80 years of heaven if you live for 80 years. You get an infinity for living in 80 years.
So you should definitely be sure to meet all the requirements you need to get into there.
Right. Or what would be more rational, of course, is to pick the religion, after exploring religion, of course,
Whichever has the best heaven.
or
the one
has the least worse hell.
That's another good
This
idea.
is talking about Pascal's Wager. We're not going to talk about that because we've already gone over it twice. And so Pascal's Wager he was a very smart man, but he was wrong.
Yeah.
Because Pascal's Wager only assumes that you're thinking about one God or one religion when there are, of course, many. So let's talk about a particular subject that we mentioned at one of our skeptics groups, by
Yes.
the way, and Orange County is blessed. Okay, I am happy, I am happy, not blessed, that Orange County does have a lot of atheists and skeptics groups. And we met at a skeptics group just last night down in Newport Beach at an Irish pub. It's kind of like a partyish type of skeptics group. And we were talking about a particular survey that one of your friends told you, and if we actually discover where the survey is, we will list it on the bottom of the screen. But tell me about that survey.
Basically, it was a study done to see why do kids go from being creative individuals. You take a 2 or 3 year old, they're playing, they're making stuff with Play-Doh, they're active. Why do they go from that? And then you see them in 5, 6, once they start entering grade school. Why are they no longer showing that same creative drive that they might have shown? They haven't, obviously they haven't gotten less
some
intelligent.
have, some haven't.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's the thing, but they're specifically, the question was, why does it happen that the kids who do become less creative or specifically less inquisitive, inquiring about the world around them, what happens? Well, the study that was done was taking a group of kids and giving them, when they were, I believe, 2 or 3, maybe 4 years old, fairly young, a battery test which tests both creativity and inquisitiveness. How willing are you to track down the answers about questions in the world, rather than just saying, I don't know, and giving up. And so they controlled for all the different, socioeconomic variables, male, female, that kind of thing. And they narrowed it down to just taking a look at these variables. And so then they said, okay, they got all the data from the kids, they scored them, put them on here, and then, okay, cool, we'll do this again in a couple of years. So a couple of years passed by. They take all the kids, give the same test. And they realize that some kids have gone up, some kids have stayed the same, but some kids have gone down, and they've gone down a lot. And okay, we know this goes on, let's see why. So as they're talking with the kids, they're tracking words that they use. This is something that's done in linguistics or linguistical studies. You track what words people are using a lot. I know it's on the internet nowadays where they do tools like that, and you might see on like a tag list, number of times this tag has been used, and the word gets very big for the more people use it.
The number of times it's said gets very big.
Yeah, and so what they noticed is the kids who have gone down in both creativity and inquisitiveness are saying things in response to questions. These kids are saying, well, it's just magic, or, well, God made it that way.
Well, where do they get that from, though?
That's going to be coming in from their parents. That simple statement of, well, it's magic, means they don't have to put any more thought into it. They're done. The inquisitive process, the questioning process of, hey, what caused this? Well, then what caused this? What caused this? All the little Russian dolls kind of thing. That
like,
stops.
Why is that? And then you answer that, why is that? And that's actually part inquisitiveness.
Yeah, and that's science. In a lot of cases is, burrowing down and seeing what causes that, and then what causes that, and then what causes that. That's how we have scientific improvement in our society and in the world. But once you start answering these questions just by saying, well, it's magic, or, well, God said it's that way, or, God made it that way, and you're done. There's no questioning with that. There was a political cartoon I saw. It was something along the lines of creationist science fair. And it had a kid, just, the stereotypical character of, a dumb kid, standing in front of his science fair saying, question, when was the world created? And conclusion, 6,000 years ago. Experiment, read the Bible. Data, Bible says so. Conclusion, God is great. And that was it. There's no more thought going into it. It's, here's the answer. It says it's this way in the Bible or in whatever particular book of religion you want to say. It's done. And so parents believe that, then they bring that into their kids. And part of this is that, one of the interesting things is that they found is that these kids, when they were young, before they really became exposed to this by their parents, they were all pretty creative, inquisitive. The friend of mine who told me about this is a IT manager at Qualcomm. So he deals with troubleshooting a lot. And the whole troubleshooting process isn't, aha, I hear your problem, I know the solution to your problem. Your computer's broken, I know how to fix it. Troubleshooting is really, here's the problem. Okay, I have no idea how to fix it right now, but I know how to test it to see what, to start narrowing down what might be causing the problem so that I can start to fix it.
Continue.
Because that's the whole, essentially that's the process. That's a scientific process.
Part
in
of
general.
scientific method is, of course, hypothesis, experimentation, observation, verification.
Yeah.
Those things must be accomplished to get to a real fact.
Yeah.
Of course, creationism doesn't have any of those. And all of the things, in fact, I'm going to put a website at the bottom of the screen right now that will mention a particular website, talkorigins.org, that is wonderful because not only it has the rebuttals to creationist claims, but it also has the references that you can look at, and there might be a book or several briefs or several peer reviews on a particular a fossil, for instance, that was argued for 15 years on where it goes, and of course after 15 years of arguing, they finally discovered that it goes, or has agreed, a field of study consensus has agreed that it goes in a particular timeline of life. But getting back to the children, this is where atheists wholeheartedly support the support and promotion of science in our schools. When creationists, they don't say, we don't promote science, but they are not promoting science by saying God did it, so you don't have to go look for that other stuff out there. You don't have to actually inquire. You don't have to be inquisitive. You don't have to prove something beyond the Bible. Now,
scientific theory